Hi. Okay, today is part 2 of my Tartelette Tease Palette by Tarte in these fabulous 90s supermodel tones. The last video I did, I used the top 3 to create that stereotypical 90s contoured eye. And then today, I'm going to be using the bottom 3 to create a 90s neutral smoky eye. And I've already done my foundation makeup, and I will put a link for the video for that. And we're going to get right into it. I'm going to lay down a cover of powder underneath my eyes because I did notice in the last video that these shadows do have a lot of fallout. And I'm using Real Techniques brushes, and I noticed that those brushes minimize fallout. They really grab the product. I think it's just these particular shadows. And hey guys, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you get fallout with shadows. So you have 2 options. You can do this. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I'm going for more of a matte look today because the 90s look is a little bit more matte. But if I'm going for a more dewy or highlighted finish, I don't want to do this because it's going to matte everything down. So this would be a situation when you're working with shadows with a lot of fallout where maybe you do your eyes first and then you do your foundation afterwards. We're going to start with, let's see, how do I want to work this? Let's start with this middle color, First Kiss, and we're going to use this as sort of a wash over the entire lid. And I'm going to start with the Real Techniques base shadow brush. And I'm going to put this color pretty high up on my eyelid because this is going to be my sort of bridge color between the darker smoky color on the lower part of the upper lid and the highlight color just underneath the brow bone. So I want to make sure that this color goes up high enough to actually do its job to create that soft, seamless, smoky graduation of color from dark to light as you work your way up the lid from the lash line to the brow. Next, I'm going to go in with this lighter color called Mink. I'm going to use this as a highlighter color. It's not as light as the Whisper. If you wanted to use the Whisper, you absolutely could. But when I'm doing a smoky eye, I don't like my brow bone color or the highlight color that I'm using on my brow bone to be as light as my traditional highlight color would because I think it distracts from the beauty of the smoky eye. So I like it to be a little bit more subdued. So I think this color is perfect, and that's kind of why when I saw this palette, I thought it would just be perfect to break it down into sort of a classic contoured eye and then a classic smoky eye. And if you watch this video where I used these to create that contour eye, I really am impressed with the tones of the color, how they blend, and the fact that they are a little bit more matte, which really lends itself not only to the 90s look, but I think that I'm seeing a trend where we're going to start getting away from that overly highlighted, sparkly look, which was fabulous, to a more matte, toned down look, which is, that's just how we do things. Everything in a cycle, right? So we're going to go in with the base shadow brush again. I just wiped off the excess. We're going to go right into that Mink color. Tap off the excess, and that's just going to go right onto the brow bone. Yeah, that's nice. Time for the smoke. I'm going in with the Real Techniques Instapop crease brush and going in with this darkest brown color, BFF. And this is going to go all over the lower part of the upper lid. Go back in, second application. Depth. And now you'll notice that with this brush, it has a little bit of a slight angle to it. So the brush kind of slopes this way, and I'm keeping that angle down because for this part of the application, I want to keep it really clean, and I'm staying underneath the crease and really working on the lower part of the upper lid. Dip into our color one more time. Now I'm going to turn the brush the other way so that the angle is on the top. And now I'm going to come in and push that color up above the crease. And I'm going to go in with the Defining Crease Brush by Real Techniques, and I'm just going to blend the edges out. But I'm going to dip it into a little bit of First Kiss, which was the very first color that we used, which is acting as sort of that bridge and blending color. And there's definitely shimmer in the Crush, which I used in the previous application, but there's maybe a satin to the First Kiss. But other than that, it's a very matte palette. And I like that for a 90s inspired look because the 90s really was all about matte. Now let's go back to the Instapop crease brush and the BFF, which is the darker color. Now the angled side is going to be up, and we're going to use this to line the underside of the eyes. And I'm going all the way to the inside corner because this is a smoky eye. And I personally like a smoky eye that's rimmed all the way around. I like a smoky eye to be a little bit more rounded. I don't like it to be winged out or super sharp. And you want to make sure that you're coming up above your crease line with your smoky eye, because if you have a hooded eye like me, when you open your eye, you don't want all of your work to roll up inside of your eyelid and disappear. You want to make sure that you still have some shadow that's going to sit above your natural crease line. That looks pretty good. I like that. So we're going to go ahead and put this away for now because I think we're done with it. But you can't have a smoky eye, even a neutral smoky eye, without a little bit of black. And I'm going in with my Old Faithful, and I'm using my MAC Eye Kohl pencil in Smolder. And then I'm also going to be using my definer brush by Real Techniques with MAC Carbon to further smudge and blend that line and really get that intensity around the lashes, but everything on the lids is going to be what I created with the Tartelette Tease Palette, where you're really just embedding the lash bed with the eye pencil color. And we're going to take that really all the way around the eye and into the corners. And we're not going to be afraid of closing off the eye with a smoky eye because we want that look. It creates that hyper feminine feline look to the eye. And then we're going to come in and we're going to do the waterline. Let's go back in with the Instapop crease brush. I actually don't need to use the definer brush. I changed my mind. We're not doing detailed work here. We're just trying to smudge that line. So I think this is going to get the job done more efficiently without overpowering and pushing too much of that black into the brown. So we're going to dip the tip of the brush into the carbon, which is Max Black right here. We'll just dip the tip of the brush in there, flick off the excess, and then we're going to keep the angled side down when we're working on the top, so most of the product is being pushed towards the lashes, and then we're going to flip it upside down for the underside. Okay, let's go ahead and clean up under the eyes because I think we're done, and I kind of want to see what we've created here so far. So I think we can actually go in with a little bit more brown. Let's use the Instapop crease brush and go in with the BFF and whatever carbon's left over on the brush and just tap that into the lower lid. And we'll just do a soft, quick little blend here. I'm going to do a thinner brow. My brows have been microbladed, but the microblading gets covered up with the makeup, which I like because it gives me a little bit more freedom to play around with my brows without having to actually block them out. I'm using the Urban Decay Brow Blade in Neutral Nana. It's the Urban Decay Brow Blade, and the color is Neutral Nana. I'm using the waterproof pencil to sketch out the shape, and then I use the ink stain side to create little hairline strokes to make the brow look a little bit more realistic. And I think that if you do a thicker brow, then it kind of takes away from the drama of the smoky eye. And when I do a thinner brow, I tend to do a little bit more of a curved brow, if that makes sense, rather than like an angular or an arched brow. Okay, now the ink stain. And we're not going super crazy with the ink stain because we don't want to create a super full, like, contemporary brow. But we want to have just a little... And then I'm going to take the setting brush that I used when I was doing my foundation. It's got a little bit of the concealer left over on it, and I'm just going to kind of clean up under my eyes just a little bit more. But I'm going to make sure not to go too close to the shadow because I don't want to create a harsh line as I'm cleaning up. I just want to make sure that I've got some brightness underneath the eyes. So that looks good. It looks great. I'm happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes with my Shu Uemura eyelash curler. And then I've got my MAC Extended Play Gigablack Lash Mascara. And I'm going to put some lashes on, and then I will be right back to finish up the lips. I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, I just finished putting my lashes on. I'm always amazed, even after 20 years, when the lashes go on, how everything comes together. But having said that, the wrong pair of lashes can also ruin everything. And I think the biggest mistake that I see people make is using lashes that are too big. And I don't mean when appropriate. I mean, you do beautiful eyeshadow work and then you cover it all up with really big lashes. So, oops. So just be careful. Make sure that you're using appropriate lashes for the look that you're going for. I'm going to pop on a little bit more blush. And for that, I'm going in with, it's a discontinued blush. So I'm not going to put it in the description box down below, but it is the mineralized blush from MAC in Gleeful. And they just don't make it anymore, but it's this really nice sort of mauvey pink color. And I'm going to use that just to pop a bit of color onto the cheeks because it's a fairly matte look, but there with smoky eyes, I always feel like a little bit of pop of color in the cheek looks good. And then I want to blend that out with the powder brush. And to finish things off with the lips, we're going in with a pale pink because once again, we don't want anything that is going to distract from the smoky eye because that is the star of the show today. I am using Runway Rogue by Patricia Hartman's lip pencil in Haute is Hot. using the Real Techniques lip brush, not the blur brush, but the actual lip brush to work this pencil into my lips. And let's go in with Fashionista, which is a pink color from Runway Rogue. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my foundation color, the Kryolan TV Paint Stick in 6W, and I'm just going to kind of tap that in to the lip, concentrating in the center. And this is a 90s makeup trick to create a fuller, poutier mouth. And although we do matte looks for 90s inspired makeup, I just did an all matte look with a matte lip. And this is a pretty matte look. So let's put a little bit of gloss on. I'm going to do Runway Rogue lip gloss in Strike a Pose. I'm going to use my lip brush to apply that. So I put a little bit of it on the back of my hand so I don't contaminate my gloss with the colors that I already have on my lips. I'm going to go in just here a little bit of Stone from MAC. I think that's better. I think that looks good. I'm happy with it. So this was the Tartelette Tease Palette by Tarte. This was the second makeup application I did with it, using the bottom 3 colors to create more of a neutral brown smoky eye. Definitely 90s inspired, more matte. Very successful. I like this palette a lot. I highly recommend it. The only thing to watch out for is that it does have a significant amount of fallout or drop off when you're working with it. So either do your eyes first and then do your foundation, or do your foundation and then apply a layer of powder underneath your eye to catch the drop off and the shadow while you're working, and then you can cleanly dust it away when you're done. So I hope you guys had fun. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those in the comments down below. I will put as much info as I can for what I used today in the description box down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.